Hi folks, can we machine this Johnny-5 finger part as a one and done on our Haas UMC-350? I think we can, but let's find out. And the key is going to be, how do we handle some of the 2D and 3D adaptives to work this part? The goal is just to get two of these made, so I'm not concerned with cycle time. I do care about programming time. I'd rather not have to spend an hour or two to program a relatively simple part. And the key to that is going to be this automated modeling feature. I grabbed a piece of stock that I had laying around. It's plenty high off the vise. This makes things safer when we're at B90 for clearances of our tool and spindle. And we've got our machine modeled, so Fusion is going to give us really good machine simulation here, which is really nice. So let's just go through this cam. The first part of it is relatively simple. Facing the part off, adaptiving down to get rid of most of the raw material, but 2D adaptive obviously can't machine any occluded geometry. So if you look from a top-down approach, we're not going to be really handling any of the undercuts on either side. Then we're going to tip the part over, clean up this relief shelf here, 2D contour to finish that, and rough out this slot, and then do the same shelf on the other side. I've done all that while maintaining the majority of the stock down here for rigidity purposes. I also am doing a profile around this part while we're still rigid, and some of these smaller holes, which we're sometimes pre-drilling, but sometimes just boring with a 1/16. This hole, perfect example of why this is so nice to do on a 5-axis. Pretty small diameter hole. If you want to see how we did this, stick around for the end. There's a counterbore here that we didn't do on the machine, but we did have a pretty cool trick on how we put that in there. But what we're doing first is using that 16th inch end mill that's carbide and relatively stiff to give ourselves a flat spot. If we turn on inspect section analysis, you can see what we're doing here is we're technically violating the model, won't hurt anything, by putting a flat spot in here. That way when we come in with this relatively small drill, we're not drilling on an angle. That's never going to work with any drill, let alone a high-speed steel drill at this aspect ratio or depth. We're going to do some roughing on this side and the other side, and that's just to clean up the two planes, effectively this face and this face. If we take a look at our stock to date, you'll see that here. So here's where we've left off. We've got everything done in green. We've got some more work to do though on the bottom parts here and here, but we're going to start losing rigidity. We've got this really awkward issue that always comes up with 5-axis parts like this, which is how you start to handle intelligent machining that's not a pain in the butt to program. This originated, I believe, from Rob Lockwood. Frankly, I forgot about it and was talking about this part with Justin from Toolpath, and he reminded me of a great way to build off of a basic template. Now, what I mean by template is Rob's part includes this thing called Addition A, and this is a parametric box. So by parametric, I mean you can go into this FX here and you could change some of the values on this height. Let's say we want to make it taller. I actually don't need to change it right now, because if you think about what I want to do is I want to start working this face, which would include this face, and I want to work on this face, but I want to leave my part connected down here at the base. And this is one of the coolest things in Fusion. Automatic modeling, faces to connect. I'm going to connect 1, 2, 3, 4, generate shapes. It took about 60 to 90 seconds, I paused the video, to come up with these solutions. This is not what I want. This looks great, and you can actually slide this bar. I'm happy to have this be even thicker, and that's really going to be perfect, because what that then lets me do, in fact, I'll show you, we've already done this, is it creates a modeled body like this, which you can then come in with a 3D adaptive, which will respect this solid body. And that 3D adaptive is going to come in, and under model, I've added this body right here, and you can further limit it by a sketch if need be. But the key thing is that it makes it really easy. You don't have to worry about lead-ins and gouges, because we have this full body here that I want to be preserved. And that's the hardest part. Now I can come in, do a finished profile, including this section here, I can trim off a small flab there, use the flat tool path to machine out this surface right here, 2D contour to clean up that wall, drill our angled hole all the way through. Remember before when we had the carbide end mill in there, we were just pre-drilling a flat, and drill a couple side holes, interpolate this bore at the bottom of the part, chamfers, and then finally we will then use a 2D contour, and then we'll finally part the part off, leaving 20 thou, and we can just break it off the machine and we're done. But the other key to this workflow is we don't have to probe our part. Our coordinate system is already set at the top center of our 0-point system. Our vise is modeled correctly and our stock is modeled certainly close enough, and that means we can just put the part on and go. 0 points are awesome for this reason. We're proud to introduce the Saunders MachineWorks Puck Chuck 0-point system, and in this video we're using the mechanical puck chuck. These are made from A2 tool steel, heat treated to approximately 58 Rockwell, and work great for 5-axis applications like this. How do I machine this counterbore? It's for a guide cable sheath for one of Johnny-5's fingers. It's not a particularly critical diameter nor a critical depth. 3D printing to the rescue. I created a sketch. I projected the outside profile of this body, extruded that out, and then I extruded out the hole at the correct angle, the correct diameter, printed it on the bamboo, put the part in there, used a number 37 drill. You got to be careful because you can easily drill the wrong direction, but if you're careful and let the drill float through that hole, it will then intersect with the actual counter bore hole, which has already been pre-drilled. That's really the key here. And we drill our counter. We will actually include this Fusion file and links in the video description on stuff like this. And the overall Johnny-5 build is going great. About a year ago, we sort of started over. We tore the whole robot down, most of the parts that we could reuse, but there were some major improvements to the actual design. But more importantly, we're now putting in all of the electronics. So each track drive has 4 large batteries in it. The motors are in there. You can start to see all the electronics. So a lot more work to go, but really coming along. As always, folks, take care. See you soon.